Title: Why 30% of AI agents are doomed to fail. Industry insiders are sounding the alarm. A recent forecast from Gartner predicts that by 2026, a full 30% of all generative AI projects will be abandoned before they even see the light of day. 30%. That's an astonishing number, representing billions of dollars in wasted investment, countless hours of frustrated work, and a massive loss of competitive advantage. But here's the twist, and it's the most important part of this story. The reason for this catastrophic failure rate isn't what you might think. It's not because the AI models are dumb. It's not a lack of computing power, and it's not even that the technology is overhyped, though, let's be honest, there's a lot of hype. You might have heard whispers online, maybe from some self-proclaimed 25-value AI guru, that agentic AI is all a scam. The truth is far more complex and, frankly, way more interesting. The real reason for this 30% failure rate is a series of predictable and preventable mistakes happening behind the scenes. These projects are failing because of black box errors that create compliance nightmares, broken communication chains that turn multi-agent systems into a game of corporate telephone, and the simple fact that most of these brilliant AI agents are being built on a foundation of digital sand. Today, we're going to break down the real reasons for the failures and, more importantly, lay out the blueprint for how to actually succeed. Why the hype train is derailing. The promise of agentic AI is huge. Autonomous systems that can reason, plan, and execute complex business workflows with minimal human oversight. Imagine an agent that handles customer service from start to finish, or one that manages your entire supply chain. This is the dream that's driven billions in investment. But for too many companies, the reality is a nightmare. Projects that look like magic in a controlled demo completely fall apart when they meet the chaos of the real world. So, let's get specific. What are the failure patterns causing so many of these projects to get scrapped? Reason: the black box compliance nightmare. The first and most dangerous problem is what's known as the black box. An AI agent is a black box when it makes a decision, but you have zero visibility into how it got there. You feed data in, an answer comes out, and the logic in between is a total mystery. Now, imagine this in a highly regulated industry like finance or healthcare. An AI agent denies a loan or suggests a medical treatment. When a customer or a regulator asks why, you can't just shrug and say, "The AI decided." That's not an answer. It's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Without an audit trail, you have no proof that the agent complied with critical regulations like GDPR or HIPAA. This lack of explainability isn't just a tech problem. It's a massive business risk that can lead to millions in fines and a total loss of trust. You can't defend a decision you can't explain. Another reason: garbage in, garbage everywhere. The second major failure point is data. AI agents are only as good as the data they can access. The problem is that in most big companies, data isn't in one neat, tidy place. It's scattered across dozens of different systems that don't talk to each other. One system for sales, another for support, a third for inventory. This is the silo problem. An AI agent tasked with helping a customer might need info from all three of these systems to do its job. If it can't get that access, it's working with one hand tied behind its back. Early growing pains with AI co-pilots highlighted this exact issue. It's why major players like Salesforce have invested so heavily in platforms like Data Cloud, designed specifically to bridge those internal silos. Without that unified view, the agent is just guessing. It's like hiring a brilliant employee but locking them in a room with only a fraction of the information they need. They're bound to make bad decisions. And when an AI agent acts on incomplete data, the result isn't just a failed task. It's a cascade of errors that can ripple through the entire organization. The broken telephone effect. To get around the limits of a single AI, the new trend is creating multi-agent systems, where different agents specialize in different tasks and collaborate. Sounds great in theory, right? Like assembling your own team of digital experts. In practice, it often turns into a game of broken telephone. As information passes from one agent to another, context gets lost and errors get amplified. In fact, some research shows that even with agents that are individually 80% accurate, by the time you chain 5 of them together, the overall accuracy of the final result can plummet to around 33%. Their long-term planning is brittle, and small misinterpretations in one step cascade into massive errors down the line. This is where costs spiral. Teams realize their autonomous system needs constant human babysitting just to keep it from going off the rails. Instead of saving work, they're now managing a team of confused, unreliable digital employees. Eventually, the project gets axed because the cost just isn't worth the benefit. Now, these problems are real, and they're costing companies dearly. But they are not unsolvable. Before we get into the solutions that the successful companies are using, if you're finding this breakdown valuable, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We focus on the real-world application of AI, cutting through the hype to give you insights you can actually use. The solution: from failing agents to powerful workflows. So how do you avoid becoming another statistic? The answer is a fundamental shift in mindset. The problem isn't the AI agents themselves. The problem is deploying standalone, ungoverned black box agents. The future isn't about building a single rogue superintelligence. It's about architecting structured, transparent, and auditable agentic workflows. It's the difference between hiring a lone genius with no oversight and building a high-performance team that operates with clear rules and accountability. Here's how it's done. Solution 1. Kill the black box with radical transparency. The antidote to the black box nightmare is building systems that are auditable by design. This means every single action an agent takes is logged, traceable, and explainable. This is already being done successfully in high-stakes fields like governance, risk, and compliance. Instead of a black box, you build a glass box. If an agent flags a transaction, the system can instantly produce a report showing the exact data it reviewed, the rules it applied, and the conclusion it reached. This is achieved with techniques from explainable AI, XAI, and by making sure a human is always in the loop for critical decisions. When you own and control the logic, regulators see transparency and customers see fairness. Another solution is to build bridges, not silos, with orchestration. You solve the garbage in, garbage everywhere problem by building digital bridges. This is where orchestration layers and middleware come in. These are tools designed to sit between your fragmented systems and your AI agents, acting as a universal translator and data access manager. A properly orchestrated workflow gives each agent secure, governed access to the specific data it needs, no matter where that data lives. A retirement services provider, for example, used an agentic workflow to automate fetching forms from multiple siloed systems, which dramatically sped up cash flow simply because every step was verifiable. This is how you go from an agent making bad guesses on partial data to an agent making smart decisions based on a complete picture. Also, to assemble a team, not a rogue agent. Finally, to solve the broken telephone effect, you don't give up on multi-agent systems. You just structure them intelligently. You design an agentic workflow where each agent has a super-specific, narrow role, and the handoffs between them are rigidly defined. Think of it like an assembly line. One agent retrieves customer data. A second agent analyzes that data for specific patterns. A third drafts a response. And maybe a fourth agent, with a human in the loop, gives the final approval. This structured approach prevents the task creep and context loss that plagues so many projects. It also dramatically improves reliability. A McKinsey survey found that high-performing AI companies are nearly 3 times more likely to redesign their end-to-end workflows this way. Success stories are popping up everywhere, from Bayer using AI to revolutionize its sales training, to Mercedes-Benz dealerships using a multi-agent system to cut customer response times by 70% and boost bookings by 40%. So are 30% of agentic AI projects doomed to fail? Yes, if they're deployed naively. The era of just throwing an autonomous black box agent at a complex business problem and hoping for the best is already over. The massive failure rate we're seeing isn't a sign that AI is useless. It's a harsh but necessary market correction. It's a clear signal that the hype has outpaced the discipline needed for a successful rollout. The future belongs to those who move from simply deploying agents to architecting governable, transparent, and structured agentic workflows. It's about building systems you can trust, audit, and control. The promise of AI is still very real, but it demands more than just cool tech. It demands great engineering, great governance, and a clear-eyed strategy focused on measurable value, not just hype. What are the biggest challenges you're seeing with AI implementation in your industry? Let me know down in the comments. And for more deep dives into the business of artificial intelligence, make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching.